Travels with Lobo. You are viewing Detroit, America's great comeback city, and Lonely Planet's #2 city destination for 2018. Vlog number 8. Dan Gilbert, Making Detroit Great Again. Remember, a new vlog is published every Friday. So that was my visit to Greektown in Detroit, Michigan, America's comeback city. Well, that was me way back in late September on my very first outing to shoot video for the series on Detroit. And where do you go? It's no mystery. You go to the nicest place in the city where you can just hang out and chill. And if you really want to know what's going on, you go to the new Parthenon restaurant and you talk to Charlie.
Ask Charlie.
Charlie, what's so famous about this restaurant in Greektown here?
Greektown's been around a lot of years. I'd say over 100.
100 years.
You know, Parthenon's been there close to 50, and they had a lot of other great restaurants in this area.
Right.
Grecian Gardens, Hellas, you can go on and on.
For how
I've been a waiter here 30 years.
Holy mackerel, 30 years.
And Dan Gilbert and Illich, they've done a lot of great things for the downtown area. And
Who's that?
Dan Gilbert from he owns the casino. Found a lot of business this way.
Yes, fantastic.
Yeah.
So, pleasure talking to you.
Thank you very much.
All the best to you, and hopefully you got another 30 years to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're working on it.
Thank you.
Dan Gilbert from he owns the casino.
The casino. That was no mistake. That was worth repeating. That was the very first time that I heard the name of Dan Gilbert. It wouldn't be the last time, not by a long shot. So just across the street from the new Parthenon is the Greektown Casino, one of 3 privately operated casinos in Detroit. And just across the street is the massive Greektown Casino Hotel. The Gilbert Empire is complex, and I think people will accuse me, a vlogger from Victoria, British Columbia, of knowing Jack, but I do know that. By May 1st, 2018, the hotel will be known as the Jack Detroit Casino Hotel to go along with the Jack Detroit Casino. That brings under the Gilbert umbrella of Jack Entertainment 5 casinos in 5 different cities, including Cleveland. I mention Cleveland because you may have heard of James LeBron, the famous basketball player. He played for the Cleveland Cavaliers before being traded to the Miami Heat, only to be brought back to Cleveland the following year. The main actor in that drama was Dan Gilbert, the owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers. The casino was built in the year 2000, but not acquired by Gilbert until 2013. The price must have been right because that was the year that the city of Detroit filed for its infamous bankruptcy. And that followed the bankruptcies of General Motors and Chrysler in 2009. The corporations were only saved by extreme reorganization and massive government bailouts. At that point, the population of Detroit had dropped from 1.7 million to about 700,000. Bold action was in order to save the city of Detroit, and that bold action came from Dan Gilbert. A native Detroiter, he decided to do the unthinkable at the time, and that was to move the headquarters of his company, Quicken Loans, America's second largest mortgage company, from the suburbs to downtown. That brought about 12,000 employees into the downtown urban core, and about 20% decided to live here. Okay, you say, that's pretty good. That's a step in the right direction. But the next part will blow you away. There's an adage in investing, buy low, sell high. Nobody can accuse Dan Gilbert of doing anything but buying at the low. Hold on to your seats, but the entities associated with Dan Gilbert have bought or taken out long-term leases on 62 properties in the center of Detroit. It needs to be said, however, that most of these places were not in move-in condition, and lots of money had to be spent to get them there, and some of them haven't gotten there. 2 fine examples seen from Campus Martius Park are the First National Bank, and across the street, the Chase Building, or the Cube. Here's a look at the architectural heritage of this great city of Detroit as seen in the lobby of the First National Bank. But nothing resonates more of Detroit's glory days than the J.L. Hudson's department store. Let me tell you about that later. Another building when Woodward was acquired by Rock Ventures in 2012, designed in 1962 by Minoru Yamasaki. If the design looks familiar, yes, it's the same as the World Trade Center. In 2015, a key acquisition, One Detroit Center, the tallest office building in Michigan at 43 stories. Yes, the center tower of the GM Wren Center is taller, but that's a hotel. It was a key acquisition because it kept 700 employees of Ally from moving into the suburbs. There are now 1,500 people working there. Right in the heart of the financial district is the Buell Building at the corner of Congress and Griswold. Another acquisition. Another 2015 acquisition, the David Stott Building, an Art Deco building intended for mixed use. Another building in downtown Detroit you can't help but notice because it sits out there all by itself is the Book Tower in the neoclassical Italian style. It has been unoccupied since 2006. It has been acquired by Bedrock and is presently being renovated. Can you imagine the job of doing this renovation? South on Woodward Avenue from Grand Circus Park, the first building is a David Whitney building, and most of the buildings down the west side of Woodward, all the way down to Campus Martius Park, have the imprint of Bedrock, the real estate entity of Dan Gilbert. Look at the east side of Woodward Avenue from Grand Circus Park, past the Broderick Towers, and it's basically the same thing, the Bedrock influence. Behind the east side of Woodward Avenue, near the Broadway People Mover station, you can get a better appreciation of the construction that's taking place. Right behind the Hudson property, Bedrock constructed the Z Garage. You got to go to the top and have a look at the view. I'm here in downtown Detroit at the Z Garage, famous for its art, and the Belt Alley behind me. Quite unusual, spectacular even. As you can see, the Belt is a partnership between Library Street Collective and Bedrock Detroit. view from the top of Z Garage towards Woodward Avenue and towards one of the most historic and prized pieces of real estate on the Strip. This was the former site of Detroit's premier department store, J.L. Hudson, that was closed in 1986 and demolished in 1998. It was a massive building, and this is what it looked like. On Thursday, December the 14th, 2017, Detroit gets a long-awaited announcement from Dan Gilbert. A massive, mixed-use, 800-foot skyscraper that will be the tallest in Detroit. I will leave a link below so you can see it. Included are 450 residential units, which will do a lot towards a continuing trend of people moving to downtown Detroit. I have to mention that a lot of the projects undertaken by Bedrock have been subsidized by tax dollars. That has been a bone of contention. So while President Trump has promised to make America great again, and that remains to be seen, Dan Gilbert never did promise to make Detroit great again. He just went about doing it. And that is an amazing accomplishment. Finally, you got to be impressed with Dan Gilbert's favorite saying, which is very simple: do well to do well. Think about that. Thank you for viewing, subscribing, and a thumbs up. See you next Friday for more.